All right, so we are going to talk about, and I have a quick story to kind of kick this off because obviously it's a controversial headline, right? So, selling over 300 homes, working 1 day per week, this guy's full of it. There was a Facebook thread that, man, if I didn't have thick skin or didn't really care what people thought, it would have upset me. Just cruel comments. And one of the comments was about this picture here, and I guess it was an older suit. Just someone saying, "Man, if he sells that many homes, why doesn't he have a better suit?" So I don't know, man. I think it's a navy suit. I don't know if it's cheap or not, but I tend not to put a lot of my money into my clothes. So maybe someone picked up on that. But what I do is 100% legit. It's not rocket science. I built a highly profitable business. It's based on systems and very, very productive agents. So it's unlike most teams that you'll see. And the process that I went about building it is unlike most coaches and how they sort of train their clients to build a team. So I'm going to go through a lot of the core sort of fundamental things that you'll need to be able to achieve what I've achieved. So this is really what we're setting out to do, or at least give you the framework to do this. So building a highly profitable business through the use of sustainable systems and empowered people in order to systematically increase your net worth and time away from the office. So my dream for all of you is the last part of that there is to systematically increase your net worth and time away from the office. And so my business is I've got agents that are doing well. They're making good money. They're happy. They're kicking butt. It's a fun environment. I've got staff that just love to come to work. It's a unique office environment, unlike any other corporate environment there is. They lean on each other and they're cross-trained and they look out after each other. And I've got clients that get great service, and all of it's delivered by me, quote unquote. And when we get client reviews, everyone says Lars and his team did an awesome job. Lars does a great job. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about that and how we do that. But this is the goal, right? Build a highly profitable business through the use of systems, not just brute force. So my business doesn't run because I show up every day and I get all the different cogs running and all the plates are up in the air and I'm the one that's standing in the middle of it. It's sustainable systems and a very lean staff. So I've got 3 core admin, and that blows everyone's mind. But when you have the right systems in place, you can run a lean staff. And our goal for next year is 400. And I've recently changed my vision. My vision now is to get to 600 sides and to do it with the 3 same staff. And we've already talked about it, and we're going to get there. So that's the mission. And at this point, my business, it serves one purpose for me. It's to increase my net worth, and I don't spend a lot of time at the office. So that's my dream for all of you as well. So here's what we're going to cover today. I want to go through and give you a little bit of context on what my business looks like. I want to talk about some of the technology tools you should be looking at or have in your business, the core marketing pillars. The one thing I've done really, really well is that I've gone very, very deep. When I spend money, I want to see it return for me before I spend more money. And a lot of agents get caught up in really just getting distracted by trying this for a few months, and never going deep on the core marketing pillars that you should have in your business. A lot of business, and I learned this from my time with Tony Robbins, went to Fiji twice, business mastery. And my main takeaway, I don't know if I'd recommend it for everyone because it's really, really expensive. Probably gave Tony Robbins over $75,000. My main takeaway is that business is a large part of it is psychology, and I'll go through that. We're going to cover a little bit about how the real estate industry is changing. And in my opinion, if you don't take a look at what I'm going to show you today and get on a path of building out a real company that delivers consistent service without you being involved in it, I think you're going to have problems in the future. I think our industry has some changes ahead of it. And then we're going to go through probably the coolest part of what we're going to cover today is I'm going to push you a little bit to think about 3 questions. I'm going to push you to think about your future 3 years out. I'm going to ask you about what your business looks like today and what you think might hold you back from achieving that really audacious plan that we're going to put together for you. And that's really probably the most exciting part of what we'll cover today. So make sure you stick around for that. So let's kind of set the stage here. So my business, my first full year in real estate was 2008. By the end of 2009, I just hired my first agent by the end of 2009. We have 15 today, 7 outside agents, two inside sales, 7 outside agents, 2 listing specialists, 5 buyer agents, a couple VAs, and 3 main admin. So we're over 300 sides this year. Ops manager was key. So that's how I'm able to not get caught up in the details of things. I've got an amazing operations manager. I'm really starting to find the sweet spot for profitability. So profits this year, even though we had a flat year, we lost our top agent this year. But the business did really well profitability wise because we're lean and mean on expenses. And solid org structure in place. We are pushing toward having just an awesome experience that people are willing to pay more than the average agent for. So this is our recent experience at Disney. I'm happy to give Disney more money to go on their cruise ship because the way they treat my family, the experience that we get from it, and it's just, I want the same experience for my clients. So this is really something, if you haven't read any books on, none of them are available on Audible, but there's a couple books on the Disney way and sort of how they're able to get double the rate of other companies for the same, quote unquote, the same experience, or the same kind of vacation. So my production by design has just diminished. 2008, it was only me, and then I hired one agent at the end of 2009, all the way to the last listing I took. The last client I really worked with was probably second quarter 2012. It took a full 7 months to get that property under contract and sold. And that's why I had a little bit of production in 2013, but basically no production here for 24 months, probably closer to 30 months or so. So I've been out of the business. So definitely a work hard, play hard culture, very simple org structure, plug and play sales system. We lost an agent this year. But because we're systems based, we're able to plug another agent in and suffered a little bit with growth, but we did not we own the client relationship, so we didn't have too much of a problem picking back up and having the business move forward. The sales force, they are 100% driven. They have a reason to make a lot of money and work hard. They respect accountability, and we feed the hungry. So if you're doing what you're supposed to do, we'll give you opportunity. Agents and staff, we have a lot of fun. There's a lot of financial opportunity. I hold a weekly team meeting. So Tuesday is my real estate day. I do some one-on-ones. I do the marketing and financing, and I run the buyer and listing agent meetings. So all that happens really before 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So I hang around the rest of the day. I do some other things, but mainly Tuesday is my real estate day. And so we kind of cut the company up into sales, operations, and then there's a part-time person that helps me with executive services, Jessica. Cherie runs the operations, and she has a buyer client coordinator, a listing client coordinator, and a couple VAs. And then we've got a 7-person sales force. Outside sales are 5 buyer specialists, 2 listing specialists, and 1 buyer ISA and 1 seller ISA, both local. So when I look at my business, I really think about leverage. And, way back in 2000, I guess it was less in 2007, 2008 was my first full year. I really, really looked at these 3 pillars, and it was one of my coaches that gave me this sort of framework, but it's marketing, technology, and people and systems. And my ability to build the business I have today and step out of it and have it run without me is based on being able to leverage marketing, to leverage technology, and to leverage people and systems. And so obviously marketing leads to sales, leads to growth. So let's go through some key marketing pillars. I'm not going to go too deep on the marketing pillars because I want to leave time for questions. But basically, there's 5 main marketing pillars that I run in my business. And really the order, I'll kind of go through the order that I built my business in, because some of you on the call are selling 100, 200 homes a year. Some of you are selling 10, 15, 20 homes per year. So the way I was able to build my business, I knew that buyer leads, just buyers in general, aren't out there. A little bit more so here recently with available data on agents and some of the social review sites and whatnot. But for the most part, the easiest and the lowest barrier to entry is with buyers, and so that's internet leads. So Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Zillow, Trulia, all those different sources. Craigslist still works on my market. People claim that it doesn't work, but we just give them instructions to copy and paste the URL, and it still works. So getting really good at buyers through the internet. And then probably from there, I got really good at expired and FSBOs, which helped me to get to pillar number 2 and get yard signs up in yards. And we run 3 yard signs, and having 3 yard signs gives us 2.5 times more call volume than if we just had a single yard sign. Farming, I consider farming just groups of people. And I lump expired FSBOs and geographic farming direct mail. We don't do a lot of smiling and dialing. We don't do outbound calling. We have a couple dialers. We have Vulcan 7. We have Mojo, but they are rarely used. For all of our farming is direct response, and people call us. And I've just become really good at the marketing messaging for direct response marketing and getting people to call us off of our advertising. Then it's our raving fan club, people that know, like, and trust us, our past clients in Sphere, through direct mail, through video marketing, through client giveaways and the quarterly calls, our client events. We do market snapshot. So we've got a 60 touch program with our past clients in Sphere. So if you're Keller Williams or you've heard of Keller Williams in the 33 touch, we have amped it up to a 60 touch program. It represents, this is my 7th full year, and our 40%, full 40% of my business is past client and SOI, which is pretty good for only 7 years in the business at the volume that we're at. And then Go for No, it's sort of the flip side of that, is training my agents and staff to ask their sphere and in their networks and even to strangers to get them to generate business. And that's working really, really well for us. Marketing and spending time on marketing is, if you contrast calling expireds every day for 2 hours a day versus setting up an expired mailer system. It may take you 10 hours to set up the system, but it's going to lead to results continuously versus every day you got to get up and dial that phone. And so I've always just focused on the marketing in my business versus the activity of just being a phone warrior. So I started when I was early in the business, I started with direct response and then shifted to branded advertising. Most agents out of the gate want to create this brand that is a myth for the most part. And we hold expenses accountable. I don't have time to go into marketing ROI tracker, but I track every expense and what it does for our business. So I know that for the most part, when I spend $1, I want to make $10 before I pay agents. On average, I pay my agents about 40 cents out of $1. And so I need a 6 times return on my investment. 10 times when I'm looking at gross, when I'm looking at gross commissions, and 6 times when I'm looking at gross margin. And so I have a lot of detail in the individual market pillars. So for internet buyers, it is a finding the needle in the haystack. The best conversion rates are 3 to 5%. There's a lot of competition here, so you really need to get aggressive with calling early and often. Focus really has to be on lead conversion and management, not just the lead generation part of this is easy now. Yard marketing, we use VoicePad, we use everyday open house signs. So we've got 3 signs in our yards, and that increases our call volume. We got rid of flyers, and our call volume went up 2.5 times versus just having a single yard sign with flyers. Farming, again, so basically the focus on it is on expired mailing here, and we have a USP, your home sold in 29 days or I'll sell it for free. Huge ROI here. We added a 12-page color newspaper to 10,000 homes in a good area in our market. That'll take some time to yield results, but we've already getting results there. And like I said, the focus is direct mail there. Through a combination of video marketing, we send out our color newspaper to this group as well. We do giveaways and events and top producer, market snapshot, and getting surveys from your past clients. ROI for this is off the charts, which is really, really cool. Go for No, I have this little thing here, trifold brochure holder. All around our office, we have these referral cards. We do a Go for No. We do this 30-day challenge. We have contests in the office. I made these referral cards after getting totally taken advantage of by like a 22-year-old Cutco knife salesperson, where basically sold me $658 worth of knives that I didn't need, and then proceeded to ask me for 20 referrals. Not like, do you know anyone that might want to buy knives, but put a piece of paper in front of me and wrote the numbers 1 through 20 on it, turned it around and put it in front of me and said, can you give me 20 names of people that might be interested in purchasing, the best knife in the world or whatever. And man, I didn't give her referrals, but I took the piece of paper and I created this referral card, and it works like magic. So Jay Abraham, probably they call him the $1 billion man because of his ability to change how companies look at their marketing. He says you are surrounded by simple, obvious solutions that can dramatically increase your income, power, influence, and success. The problem is you just don't see them. And so he has just really cool, simple ideas to change how you look at your marketing. So let's talk about technology tools. So this is one area that I see agents really fall down because we are marketed to so heavily, and there's a lot of money in our industry because everyone's looking for the next best thing, the tool that's going to give them 5 closings a month and make it easy. So this is the biggest risk that you run in your business, is by not settling in on just a few technology tools and sticking to those tools. And I've got to say that again, is that the whole chasing squirrels and being distracted by shiny objects is the kiss of death when it comes to scaling your real estate business. It's a very simple business. My business is run on 4 technologies. So the first one, the general category, is called a real estate CRM. So you have to have something. CRM stands for customer relationship management. So some technology tool that helps you manage the relationship with your clients. That includes lead management, getting them as a client, and how that relationship looks as a buyer or seller client, how the contract to closing portion works, and how you communicate them as a past client. So real estate CRM. The next is direct response websites, Boomtown and Commissions Inc., Real Estate Webmasters. There's a bunch of other ones out there. A website that someone can go to that prompts them to register. So it's a direct response website. Google Apps for Business. I can't imagine having my business without having Google Apps. They call it Google Apps for Work now. But it is an integrated suite of tools, including email, calendar, docs, spreadsheet, chat, video, everything you need to sort of scale a small business. And then call tracking and routing. And for that, I use If by Phone, which is, I used to have 3 critical technology tools until a couple of years ago, I started using If by Phone, and that is an absolute game changer. Every call that comes into my office, I have 30 different phone lines that are very inexpensive through If by Phone that are tracked, they're routed, they're recorded, and they're reported. So for not so much money, I'm able to do that all with If by Phone. Very, very important. Agents love to hate Top Producer. I don't know why. They're always looking for something better. This does everything that I'll ever need a CRM to do. You've got to use it. If you had if your system for maintaining contact with your clients was index cards, handwritten index cards, and you use that system, it would probably work okay. And this just makes that way easier. And so it is the best tool that's out there right now. I know there's a couple other tools that you could use. I wouldn't overthink it. We do 4 critical functions in Top Producer. It handles our seller lead management and conversion, our seller client servicing, our listing management, closing management, and past client servicing. Direct response websites. Just understanding direct response and how to advertise is half the battle here. You have to be able to settle on a website. We've got 2 basically at this point. We run Boomtown and we run Relaunch seller site. So I've got a site dedicated to sellers, and we run Boomtown as well. Google Apps for Work. I'm not going to go into this. You can just Google it. And ironically, we run a Blogger platform. We have Google Drive. We obviously do a ton on YouTube with our video marketing, Google Calendar, Gmail, all integrated. Makes it real easy versus having individual personal Gmail accounts and trying to tie those together. Call routing and tracking. We get reports on a daily basis of every call that came in, and every call is reviewed. So we maximize every opportunity to work with a buyer or seller. Here's Bill Gates. He said, the first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. So obviously you have to have your systems in place before you structure technology around them. All right, so let's talk about some mindset shifts that are required as part of that Facebook thread that I was sort of teasing about in the beginning. It went on. There were probably 10 different agents. All of them were friends of mine on Facebook, which is another joke in and of itself. Facebook really have no friends, but just kind of going on like, man, this is BS. And he obviously doesn't understand, or he does REO business, or some like really, really not so great comments. And all of it revolves around the fact that agents, our industry is just plagued with a bunch of traditional thinking agents that can't get past the fact that right now, as the industry exists, there are margins. You can make enough money to have everyone do everything for you. And there's a lot of teams that have that set up, but they do it in a way where there's not much money left over. So my gross margins range from 65 to 67%. So after I pay my agents, I still have 65 to 67% left over. That doesn't mean I underpay my agents, because all my agents are making more than six figures, which puts them in the top 5% of agents in my market for income. So my agents are very well paid, but they're paid well because they're productive, and my systems help them be productive. So the ability for your mind to get to wrap itself around the fact that you can build a business that truly serves you, that you don't have to be in every day, that's probably half the battle when it comes to being able to do what I've done. So shift your mind, achieve your wildest dreams. So the first one is straight from Tony Robbins: business is 80% psychology and 20% strategy and tactics. I promise you that if you can, what's the quote? I'll probably mess it up. Napoleon Hill, what the mind can conceive, you can achieve, kind of thing. So if, I've got the path, I've been down this path myself. And so that is half the battle. It's not so much the strategy, but you believing that you can go down this path yourself. So number two is you're a business owner, start acting that way. Marketing is your primary activity, the thing you need to worry about most. New business development, you've got to make it rain every day. You always have to be thinking, is this the best use of my time right now? And I mentioned it before, shiny objects and chasing squirrels will kill you. So when I was in Fiji, I have a recording of it, and I always forget to play it, but really being able to understand why you're doing what you're doing. I mean, real estate's a tough business, right? So it's not enough just to sort of do the job of I even have haters in this. I'm just kind of going through here real quick. I've got someone that said, "Who cares? Move on." So awesome, guys. Give me a little bit of grace. Someone said I'm going too fast. There will be a replay available. So don't worry about me going too fast. I've got to get through a lot of information. And at the end, just make notes, and I will answer questions. So do not be a hater on this call. I should just totally get rid of that person that said, "Who cares? Move on." So my goal here is just to serve you today, to open your mind that this is entirely possible. So definitely get over yourself if you're on the call and you're wanting me to move on. You need to get off the call now. And you know who you are, so just drop the call. All right, cool. So the takeaway from this event was that there was a time, there's like 50 of us in the room, and Tony was in the front of the room. And whenever I say it, I mean, it was a worse time. It was about 3 years ago, and winter was the season, economically speaking. It was a pretty dark time. It's probably maybe even 4 years ago, when we were kind of still in economic terms, just a little bit, I guess we were coming out of the recession or whatnot, but we were all at the top of our lungs. I mean, I'm a gladiator. Winter is my season. This is my time. Give me your fears and limitations, and I will give you results. Your ability to step up and lead your team, or to step up in your market and decide that you're going to build a team. Not many people are willing to do that. So the psychology around being able to lead a group of people, inspire, enlist people to join you is a big deal that very few people are willing to do. But with the right mindset, the feeling that you can do anything, there's lots of examples of people that have achieved greatness that came from way worse circumstances than you. You will infinitely increase your odds of success. All right, so here's Tony. So many people know what to do, but they don't follow through. They don't take the action needed to get the results they're seeking. This is because 80% of mastering anything comes down to your psychology. Thus, the more you can understand about yourself, the more you can master sales, management, marketing, and business overall. So it is psychology. So you're a business owner, and I'm going to go through this one quickly, but it's even with my clients, it amazes me. Well, it doesn't amaze me now knowing, most real estate agents go into real estate because they are sort of friendly, outgoing, they're high I personalities, and less than 10% have monthly financials. So track anything. The scorecard in your business is your monthly financials. Every decision you make, if you decide not to generate new business every day, that's going to end up in your financials. If you decide to spend money on something that isn't proven, that's going to show up in your financials. And most agents don't want to look at that scorecard on a regular basis because it is really, really sad. And so the scorecard that we measure our success by at my company and with my clients is not only your monthly financials, but what is your net worth doing on a regular basis? So is it going up every year? My business serves that purpose for me now, is to systematically increase my net worth. Is your business serving that purpose for you? Most agents are busy working with clients and the minutia that comes along with the home sale and home buying process. And even with team leaders, a lot of team leaders are just wrapped up in minutia and not going anywhere. All right, so marketing, direct response marketing, being able to put something out there either online or via direct mail or through your past clients or through a farm piece or an expired letter, your ability to put something out there in a way that people are going to be compelled to take action, that is direct response marketing. So Dan Kennedy is probably the grandfather of direct response marketing. And I would absolutely, I've got a stack of Dan Kennedy books right here next to my desk. Dan Kennedy, No BS, Time Management, really, really awesome book. Sales Success and Business Success, and Wealth Building, Wealth Attraction for Entrepreneurs. 4 really good books. They're not available on audio, but those are 4 awesome books from Dan Kennedy that you should look out for. And agents don't track their advertising and marketing. And you can't spend money if you're not going to measure it. So anyway, new business every day. With all of the details involved in transactions, it's easy to get sidetracked and not focus on generating new business. But your ability, not only you personally, but your ability to inspire other people around you to generate new business every day will directly correlate to your ability to build a sustainable and system-driven business. You've got to focus on not only lead generation, but lead management and conversion. There's more money in lead management than there is in the initial, 10 days that an inquiry comes into your office. So if you can have a lead management system in place, and I've got a lead management policy that my office follows, if you can get that in place and follow it, you're going to be able to make a lot of money in the they say the fortune is in the follow-up. And it must be part of your culture. You got to be thinking new business, new business, new business. And not on yourself. If you're a solo agent, you have to focus on building enough momentum to be able to get that first agent because you're so busy, or that first admin. And same thing goes with referrals. We run contests and we have referral cards and we make it fun. The one comment I want to make, and I'm seeing it's really, really bad. The whole outsourcing of lead conversion. I have solo agents that are doing it. So they decided that they're not going to be responsible for lead conversion in their single person team, and they're going to hire someone else to do it. And worse yet, and I have nothing against offshoring because I do have VAs in other countries, but offshoring your inside sales, I've not seen, I have 10 people that are doing it. One is getting it to work really, really well. One is getting it to work okay. Maybe a couple think it's working well, but it's really not. And then 6 are just, it's failing miserably. So offshoring your ISA is very, very, very challenging. The whole knowing your dollar worth. And so even when I was early in the business, my calculation was that my time, I wanted to make $500,000 working $2,000 hours per year. And so every hour I spent on something, I should be making $250 for that hour. Having that number, now I've changed that number to 1,000. So if I'm going to spend an hour doing something, it has to be worth $1,000 to me. And so just having that number, even if you don't have the leverage of an admin, knowing what that number is for you will get you really impatient. Like if you're working in a file and you're chasing down an attorney or you're following up with a lender, in most markets, that's $15 an hour, maybe $20 an hour, maybe $25 in some of the more expensive markets, but you're losing money. You're losing at least $100 an hour every time you spend an hour working on an admin task. So start thinking about what this number is for you, and I promise you it will change your world. And I've touched on this already, shiny objects and chasing squirrels. The fact that I've been consistent in my use with Top Producer, the fact that I've been consistent in my use with Google Apps, the fact that I've been on my Boomtown platform since 2008, and there are other platforms that are now more feature rich. Commissions Inc. is really blowing Boomtown away with their features. And I have a Commissions Inc. platform, but I've stuck with Boomtown. It's still my main platform. So I'm very hesitant to switch all the time because there's always the latest and greatest thing. So you've got to be able to not fall into this crippling trap. Darren Hardy gives a great example of, getting anything working in your business is kind of like pumping a hand pump for a hand pump well water. So the water is 400 feet down and you're pumping it by hand. You're pumping for probably a good 5 minutes and you're pumping your ass off to get that water to come out. Once it starts coming out, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to keep it going. And most agents are constantly pumping pumps and they're never letting the water come out to where it's easy to keep a system up and running. So don't fall into that trap. Settle in on do one marketing pillar at a time and focus in on 2, 3, 4 key technology platforms, and you'll watch your business scale. So let's talk about some industry issues. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I spent a year coaching with Harold Ware, brilliant guy, who talked, most of his focus was on really the changing consumer, the evolving industry dynamics, and how agents should be responding. And I sort of believe the same thing, that if you're not thinking along the lines of building a team and sort of a more business-like structure and delivery of services, you're going to be working for someone that has that. So you're going to be on one of these teams or you're going to be running one of these teams. And there's nothing wrong with the people that are going to be working for the team leaders, but it's a huge risk. So you have to figure out what your response will be. If you want to continually have the same year over and over in your business, or if you want to truly own a business that serves your family, where you're able to create a really good income without having to work in it every day. So too many agents get caught up in the trap of trying to be Superman or Superwoman. So if you're selling 15, 20, 30, 40 homes per year, and you've got little marketing technology or people systems leverage in your business, you will burn out and you will limit your income. So remember, if you don't have a business, you have a job. So 3 elements of my model, I consider it, and I call it the corporate model. 3 features are that the company maintains the client's lifetime value and delivery of the value proposition to the consumer versus giving up control to your agents. Workflow processes are performed by specialized employees rather than jack of all trades traditional agent. And agents are transitioned from traditional high splits to much lower splits in line with the value they provide in the transaction. That third point is not a diss to agents on my team. Quite the contrary. Every agent on my team knows that there's a dollar that comes in and they get a piece of it for what they do in it. And then there's overhead that helps them make their job easier. And then there's profit that I split with the government. So it's not a diss. It's just we were able to get them so productive. Every one of my agents is selling more than 40 homes. And we could do it because we've got solid systems and key people in place. Okay, so you have to decide what your response will be to what's going on in the industry. I'm deciding that in retail clothing, there's Nordstrom, Macy's, and TJ Maxx. Nothing wrong with TJ Maxx. Maybe I bought my suit there, apparently, from some of the Facebook comments. There's nothing wrong with Kia or Toyota, right? I mean, both are really good cars. I like shopping at Nordstrom, and I drive a BMW. And I'm willing to pay premium prices to have the experience I have by being in those worlds versus going to TJ Maxx and rifling through, damaged goods or stuff that, whatever. And Kia, there's nothing wrong with Kia, right? It's an awesome car. It'll get you from point A to point B, but it certainly doesn't provide the experience that a BMW provides. So I'm deciding that I'm going to be a Nordstrom or a BMW in my business. And as a result of that, when the market continues to shift or the industry continues to change, I'll be positioned, have a position of strength going into that change. So the average agent delivers average service. Our industry is changing. Consumers are demanding more, and we have to continually improve our service and our skills and our systems to deliver the most memorable experience we possibly can to our clients. I'm not going to go through this exercise right now, but is the experience you're delivering to your clients, is it average or is it world-class? When you think of, going to Disney World versus going to like a Six Flags, are you Disney or are you Six Flags? Are you BMW or are you a Hyundai? And if you drive a Hyundai, that's cool. So this is not a comment on that being a bad thing. But what is great about what you do? What can be improved? If you're a solo agent, I don't have an org structure for you because there's just you. But this is the progression that I took. Sorry about that. The progression that I took was to sort of have a couple buyer agents. Tia was my main admin person, then to break out sales from admin, had a seller client care person, a buyer client care person, added a listing partner, had 3 or 4 buyer agents, and then ultimately to split up responsibilities for the different sides, have seller, buyer, client care, listing partners, buyer partners, and inside sales. So Michael Gerber, if you haven't read the E-Myth, and I think the updated version is the E-Myth Revisited, he says it's a whole on versus in your business. Most entrepreneurs are merely technicians with an entrepreneurial seizure. Most entrepreneurs fail because you're working in your business rather than on your business. And so if you're a solo agent, you are definitely working in your business all the time. Even if you're a team leader, your chances are you're spending 80% of your time working in your business versus on your business. I did a really good job, even from my first start in real estate, to always spend a little bit of time working on my business because I wanted to become a true business that functioned without me. All right, so this is probably the most exciting part of what we will focus on here. And then I'll open up for questions. So we are doing really awesome on time. All right, so grab and I'll put a Sharpie up here because I don't want you to overthink your answers to these questions. But grab a blank piece of paper and just humor me on this one. Just grab the piece of paper and do it. This is doing an exercise that I'm going to take you through right now may be the turning point for you. It may be the point at which you are going to project a future that is dramatically different from the prior years that you've been working in your business. So grab a piece of paper and a pencil. I'm going to take you through really 3 questions. So let's talk about the future. And so just write number 1. First question is, let's imagine we're having a conversation 3 years from now. So you and I are sitting down and we're talking about 3 years from now. And we're looking back over those 3 years. What would have happened over those 3 years for you to feel wildly successful about your progress and about what you've achieved? So 3 years from now, maybe your business is you're a solo agent now, or you've got one admin, or you've got a small team, but you're still heavy in production. You're working too many hours. Um, what does life look like 3 years from now? How many transactions are you selling 3 years from now if everything works out perfectly? Are you selling 200 transactions, 250, 300 transactions? Are you in production at all? Do you have someone else managing the day-to-day operations, someone who's dealing with all the client issues that come up in transactions? Tell me what it looks like 3 years from now. Write this down. I'm going to wait until you write it down. So take some time here. What does your schedule look like? Any evenings, any weekends 3 years from now? What's your net worth look like? Do you have a positive net worth right now? And what does it look like 3 years from now? What's your liquid net worth? If I had to have you write a check right now, how much money could you get within a day or two notice and write a check for it? What do you want that to be 3 years from now? Well, one goal of mine is to be able to write a check for $1 million to my church. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's going to take a lot of money to do that. I'm not going to, I do give systematically to my church, but to me, that's a written goal that I have. So what does your net worth look like? Your liquid net worth look like 3 years from now? How about your health? What does your health look like 3 years from now? Are you where you want to be health-wise? Your relationships, do you have children that you're not spending enough time with? You're not focused when you're with them. You're not present. A spouse that probably wants a little bit more of you. I was probably that way about 4 or 5 years ago, where I wasn't focusing on my health. My wife was so gracious and supportive of what I was doing, but she wasn't getting enough of me. With 2 small children, a new baby, and Anders was 3, 4, while I was still sort of building this business. So what does it look like 3 years from now? What's your gross commission income, your volume? What are you taking home? What are you splitting with the government? Whose lives are you impacting 3 years from now because of your increased income? I'll give you just a couple seconds to finish that out. You should be writing a lot. This is your chance to just lay it all out there, even if it seems ridiculous what you're writing. I just held an intensive workshop for my clients here a month ago, end of October, and I shared with everyone there my written goals for 2010, and unedited, had a bunch of personal, intimate stuff in there, and I just shared it all. And what I wrote as for my goals for 2010. So going into 2010, I wrote my 2010 plan, which includes 2014. What I wanted to do, it was within 5 transactions. So I think I wanted to do, I projected like 320 sides, and we'll be just under that this year. And so your ability to think about this stuff and write it on paper, you'll find a way to get there if your emotional juice is big enough. All right, let's go on to number 2 here. So let's talk a little bit about where you are. Write down on the paper. I mean, it sounds silly because you know where you are, but write down, how many sides will you do this year? What's your net worth look like this year? Are you working evenings? Are you working weekends? Where's your health now, your relationships? Are you present with your family, with your children? I even slip now sometimes. It's not like I don't have a lot going on, even though I don't spend a lot of time in real estate business. I slip up, and my 4-year-old lets me know. She is not shy about smacking my phone out of my hand. So where are you now? Write it down. Write your net worth down. You may not have an exact calculation. For some of you, it's negative, and that scares you to admit that. You got to be able to face the reality of your current situation. Some of you, you've got net worth. Maybe it's 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, but you've got to face the reality of your current situation. So what is life like now? What is it like to show up in your business now? Are you holding it together every day? Are you doing your transaction management? Do you have any systematic marketing going on? Are leads coming to you, high quality leads coming in all the time to you? So where are you now? And now let's talk about bridging the gap. So what's holding you back? So you put this, I'm going to sort of use a fictitious example. Let's use, you did 37 sides this year. You've got a part-time admin. Life's a little crazy. You're doing showing appointments evenings. You're taking appointments on the weekends. You've got a couple young children. You're working a little bit too much. You're not present with the family because you're trying to hold it all together. Let's just use that as a fictitious current example. And then let's look at, okay, this person, a couple young kids, busy, doing pretty well, 37 transactions, not too bad. He wrote down 240 transactions 3 years from now, and he's not working with a single client. Imagine that scenario. What would hold you back from achieving that plan? That really, they call it BHAG, right? I think that's a Darren Hardy term. Big, hairy, audacious goal. And he may not have coined the term, but what's going to hold you back? Is it the path? Do you not know how to get there? Or do you suffer from shiny object syndrome, SOS, where you're never really spending enough time to get one thing working? Do you struggle with the details? Maybe you don't have a lot of C in your personality and you can't put the systems together. What's going to hold you back? Take some time. Maybe it's just fear. Maybe you don't think you can achieve it. Maybe it just scares the shit out of you to look at that number and say, man, I know some of these guys and gals around the country are doing a couple hundred sides, but I don't have any business experience. I've never managed people. So maybe it's fear. I didn't have any management experience when I went into this. I didn't have any sales experience. I had never sold anything in my life before when I got into real estate. So what's going to hold you back to achieving your goal? That scary goal that we wrote in number 1 here. Is it skills? Are you not, maybe your skills working with buyers or convincing your buyers and sellers to do business with you. Maybe it's just you think you can't afford to generate leads. Whatever it is, just write it down. So I'm going to go through some thoughts. When I look back, and I always look over to my left here. I'm on the 3rd floor of my home, and I look back and I look at the dots, and I connect the dots of this is my 7th full year in real estate. It definitely is not a straight line. Every single stage of the growth process made me feel uncomfortable. I finally learned about 3 years in, I had this constant feeling of discomfort, and it was because I was growing. And so every single part of it just made me uncomfortable. This is not an ego thing or patting myself on the back, but I think people are drawn to me as a leader and as a coach because I'm real. For one thing, most coaches and team leaders don't lead in sort of a servant leadership kind of way, but they don't admit their faults. And so there are just certain things that I'm good at, and I lean heavily into those. And I surround myself with people that are good at the things that I just know I'm not good at. I'm not great at working with clients. I'm very impatient. Very impatient. So I surrounded myself with people that are really, really good and really patient with clients. But one thing I realized is that people want and even need to be led. And I don't mean that in a negative way, like they're a bunch of lemmings, but they need vision. So despite my, often intense fears and feelings of really extreme discomfort at times, I remain focused on my vision of building a sustainable real estate business. My main takeaway was that anything is possible if you focus on it and you take consistent action every day toward your goals. Here's the thing, though. You have to decide what you want. You may not have the exact plan today. I'm going to give you an opportunity to jump on the phone with me and build out this plan. So if we get on the phone, we're going to talk about these 3 things. So you better have written them down. We're going to talk about what you want for your future. We're going to talk about where you are now. And we're going to talk about what's going to hold you back. And we're going to build that plan for you. But you have to decide what you want, set out with a plan, work hard, enlist and inspire others, and make it happen. I love this, and I can't find the source of it. It's always quoted with author unknown, but entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. Read that again. When I read it, it gives me goosebumps because I know what it was like to work those couple of years doing what most agents weren't willing to do, working my ass off. Funny story, my wife just recently made a comment. In the early days, I'd get up early, so I spent a little bit of time with my wife and our newborn son, and then I'd get after it around 8 o'clock start. I'd work till 6 o'clock, if not later, if I had an appointment. I'd have a little bit of dinner time, family time. Then I'd spend a little bit of time with Julie, put her to bed, and I'd work upstairs for 3-4 hours. Just recently, the last couple of months, she said, I didn't even know what he was doing up there. I thought he was probably into porn or so I was making shit happen. I was working on my expired program. I was stuffing envelopes. It was really, really crazy. I was working on top producer action plans, how I want my client experience to be, kind of just building the business. But I had to do it at a time. I sacrificed sleep at the time, which isn't always the best way to do it. But entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. So why am I doing this? Even offering up this free information, the bottom line is that I've been there and I feel your pain. So I know there are some people on this call, on this webinar here, that are in the shit right now. And they're either ready to go back to a corporate job. Maybe you've built up your business to a point where it's just the worst job you've ever created. And you're in the midst of just really not having a good situation. You're not spending time with your family. Your wife is pissed. Your health is suffering. Your friends don't get to see you. You're stressed all the time. So I've been there and I feel your pain. I had a new baby when I got into the business, a really new marriage as well. I spent money on everything, all the coaching systems, all the marketing that was out there, all the technology. I tried it all, and lots of it worked, but lots of it didn't. I really did build a really cool business. It runs itself for the most part. I work a basic day on Tuesday when I'm in town. My goal now is to help agents and team leaders avoid wasting time and money on things that don't work. So when I mentioned that I look back over my 7 years in real estate and I connect the dots and it's not a straight line, the first 4 years are definitely jagged and then it smooths out a little bit. My goal in helping agents now is to help that be a very, very straight line. So to get you from where you are now to a version of what I have, a fully systems-based sustainable business that runs without you tinkering with it, that's my passion now. So getting rich in real estate sales is boring. Once you build this thing the right way, it's a pretty boring business. And so now I help other agents do it. And that's actually helped my real estate business, is not messing with it and not messing with things that work. So the 4 core building blocks, most of you have seen the business blueprint, and that's the basis for how I run my business and for what I do. So a little bit about me. Like I said, 2008 was my first full year. I've been coached by probably half of the real estate trainers in the industry, spent over $150K on real estate coaches, $250K on coaches outside the real estate industry. I have a franchise, but I don't run it as a franchise. So I don't have a brokerage. It's just my team. There's only the 7 agents in my team. Drop buyers in 2010, sellers. I mentioned my last listing was 2012. It closed January 2013, and I dropped a day-to-day in 2012. My passion really is my family. So this is like our latest, version of all our pretty pictures around fall. So I've got a baby girl who's really not a baby anymore. She's like super, 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 super sassy. She's like 4.5. Anders just turned 7, and my wife, we've been married since 2006. So really, really cool time for us. So this was just a cool random snapshot that Julie was able to take of me and Tony Robbins. And one reason so few of us achieve what we truly want is we never direct our focus. We never concentrate our power. Most people dabble their way through life, never deciding to master anything in particular. And so I can't stress on that enough. Here's the thing. I'm willing to get on the phone with people that are just interested in having a conversation around these 3 points here. So what do you want for your business? Where are you now? What are your frustrations, your challenges? What's working, what's not working? And then what's going to hold you back from achieving it? So we're going to talk about these 3 things. It's open to anyone that is serious about growing their business. So there's no obligation whatsoever. It's going to be valuable if you choose to have me help you do this or not. So LarsStrategySession.com to take the next step. And Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So it's time for you to make your move. Your business and your life won't change unless you do. I liken the work I do to a recent personal experience. I've maintained a membership at our YMCA for the last 10 years, probably even more than that, since I was single. Since I moved to Charlotte 12 years ago, I've been a YMCA member. Never really consistently went. I've done some workout classes. They have athletic conditioning classes there. There's a little bit better. But just 6 months ago, I hired a personal trainer, a guy that I'm accountable to, that has my cell phone number, that texts me if I don't get into the gym. And when I'm in the gym, he's in my face and he is pushing me beyond any point I could push myself. So this next step with me is, if you want me to personally make sure that you're going to do what it takes to achieve what you thought about when we were over here. So if you want a business that runs itself and you want help doing it, let's get on the phone and talk about it. LarsStrategySession.com to take the next step. All right, let's open up for Q&A. That is all the talk I have. And there's a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask you guys to start with your questions. Just retype them in, because there's probably about 100 comments in here. Some of them, yeah, like Curtis, I appreciate your comment there. All right, so yeah, here's the thing about my comment about, because I got a lot of comments on the haters. There's only like 3 people that I care about their opinion. Obviously, I answer to God first, but beyond that, it's like my wife, my kids, my mom, and my sister. Really the only opinions I care about. So I don't get fazed at all by haters. So I just think it's funny. All right, so let's start with questions. Email us the slide presentation. I could see if I could do that. I could probably have that. The replay is definitely going to be available if you registered, if you attended, or even if you didn't attend. You'll be able to get a copy of the replay. Yeah, so this for Matt, I will not share anything with Matt. Can you describe the financial scorecard you use? Yeah, so I had one of my clients is like an Excel wizard, and he put together, I call it a business tracker. We kind of co-developed. He put like 75% of it together, and I put in marketing ROI, cash flow forecasting, agent productivity. So I have a tracking tool that my clients have access to that tracks everything you would want to know in your business from a financial standpoint. So you know your profitability by agent. You know what your cash flow looks like over the next 90 days. You know exactly what's coming in, what's going out, and you have a real-time marketing ROI analysis going on. Really, really cool system. And it's just an Excel-based system. Ben asks, what does DPA stand for? DPA is dollar productive activity. So when you're working on, running a sign out to a listing, you should get paid $10 an hour for that. And when you're on a listing appointment, that could be like a $250 to $500 an hour activity. And so just having an awareness of where you're spending your time and what the worth is of that activity, that's the whole concept of DPA. Matt, I was just kidding you. So Matt asked a question about expired. So I use a few things for expireds. And I've had good success. I've been mailing to expireds for 5 years, and I've probably done a few different quote unquote systems. The letters I use now are Hoss Pratt's letters. Hoss Pratt has actually gotten away from the letters that he used to use or used to have his clients use. So I use his. It's a 5-letter sequence, works really, really well. We're testing handwritten note cards. I also developed my own jumbo postcard sequence. It's 6 postcards, and those are working really, really well. And I'm going to roll those out to my clients as well. Yeah, so John asked for direct mail. I've had a lot of success with jumbo postcards, and just really direct response, USP, offer rich jumbo postcards. Not much image, so my picture isn't posted over it, but it's something that if you're expired FSBO, or you're thinking of selling your home, or you're a past client, you know someone is looking to sell, you're going to take action on the stuff that I send out. Yeah, so I've had great results with postcards. Okay, so Jay asks, what is the best background great buyers agents come from? So we have a filter, and I think there's like 5 or 6 things that we look for from potential buyer agents that are going to join our team. And write these down, because this is like saving you a lot of heartache if you get this right. The first one is that they have to have the right personality profile. So we test on DISC and values, and you can Google Tony Robbins DISC profile, and it's actually free. You can get it free on his site. So that's personality profile is number 1. Their number 2 is primary or necessary income earner in their family. Everyone on my team, I think 6 of the 7 are the primary income earners, and the 7th, her income is necessary. So her family couldn't operate without her income. I learned that the hard way. We don't have any people on our team that their husband works at the bank and she's doing it part-time and she seems like a good agent. There's no motivation. So we don't even give those agents any time. So personality profile, primary income, a prior record of success. So I don't care if they were like the best broad jumper in the world, or they ran track and they built out a track for their team. Like, they just have to have some way to prove that they've been successful in something before. Number 4 is you got to find out if they bring any drama. So is their personal life stable? You know, I like people that have a reason to get up out of bed and make shit happen in their business. What else? Ours is 6, and I just can't remember the other ones. They understand accountability, they understand the job, and they're going to respect accountability. So top performers typically don't mind being held accountable, but they've got to understand it. What else here? My thoughts on Infusionsoft. I use Infusionsoft for my coaching business. It's a great tool for information marketing. It is a difficult tool to integrate into a real estate business. I just think it's trying to put a square block through a round hole. I don't think it's a great fit for a real estate business. And I actually spent a lot of time really testing Infusionsoft and seeing if it would be a good fit for my real estate business. And I decided to not implement it in my real estate business. So I do not think anyone should have Infusionsoft in their real estate business. Let me say that differently. So let's take 10 agents. I think it's not even that much. Let's take 100 agents. There's probably 1 or 2 out of 100 agents that can integrate Infusionsoft properly into their real estate business. And I think there's well over 90 of those 100 that it will severely impact their real estate business and how the real estate business runs. So I wouldn't go near it. All right. Can you provide me with so I'm sure I'll provide the presentation with the replay. So Jay asked the question, what message worked best in getting agents to join your team? So we do a guarantee, an income guarantee. So we're so confident in our systems and our ability to get you busy and productive and making money that if you don't earn $60,000 minimum in your first 12 months, I'll pay you the difference. It's a pretty attractive message. If you're not at the point where you have the systems in place, clearly getting on the phone with me and talking about it is a step. I would encourage that. But being able to show them that, you've got the systems, not only just the leads, but the way to work the leads, the time management systems, the accountability systems, the tracking systems, getting all that in place, your buyer packets, your buyer presentation, all of that is going to help you help them. And so you got to be able to show that to agents and not focus on splits. So your ability to help them make money is really what it comes down to. Specific, Todd asked a question. We'll talk about it later, Todd. I know we've got a call later today, one of my clients, but Boomtown, Real Geeks, Commissions Inc., all the systems can work. So if a system has failed for you in the past, chances are you didn't have a solid lead management policy in place and you weren't working the leads the way you should be working the leads. Oh man, Brad said, great session. Would love to catch up sometime. Yeah, Brad, I would just go to Lars' strategy session. He said, my wife and I got married in 2006 as well. Started selling in 2008. And this year started selling full time. 4 kids. Yeah, very, very cool. So Brad, I would encourage you to definitely reach out and we'll get on the phone and we'll talk about it. Do you do? Yeah, I don't do get your home value postcards. I mean, it's one of the direct response offers we make on some of our farming pieces, but to blanket mail, the question was, do you do the get your home value postcards? And it's been tough. I've not had good success with just that sort of a non-branded version of that. Let's see here. Disc profile for buyer agents. This is also part of what we help team leaders with, is building out the team the right way with the right personality profiles. Mid D, high I, low C is the best for buyer agents. Too high D and they'll drive you crazy because they'll want to sort of build their own thing and kind of tell you how to do things. Low I, they're not going to be friendly enough. Too much C and they won't move past the details to go sell more homes. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so I've coached with probably 6 different coaching organizations, Buffini, Corcoran, Proctor, Kinder Reese before they were NA, just as they were moving to NAEA is when I stopped coaching with Kinder Reese. Max Avenue, Harold Ware, I mentioned him. Prodigy Solutions, did a little bit with Curtis and Don, and those guys are ridiculously wicked smart. Yeah, and that's about all I can mention. Someone asked a question about who I've coached with in the past. I've taken a little bits and pieces from all of those experiences, but more so from my business background and what I've done outside the real estate industry. Within our industry, it is a bit messed up as far as what goes on. So to look in our industry for solutions to build a business is kind of like, and some of those coaching organizations I talked about did a better job than others. But to really, truly build out what I built out took me going outside of the real estate industry. I don't do happy grasshopper. And Todd says, are you ignoring my question because we'll be talking at 5 p.m. tonight? Yeah, partly, Todd. Some of them are good. Some of them are just a little bit too detailed. What do you do for a listing presentation? So I've got as part of working with me as a client, you get access to my buyer presentation, to my listing presentation. We give it's a lot of slides, but I don't go on listing appointments anymore. And I've got every objection handled in our listing presentation, and we get a really good response, my 2 listing agents on it. So it's a PowerPoint presentation. Any pointers for a lead management policy? So obviously my lead management policy is available to my clients. We have how to handle leads, the consequences for not handling leads. We organize it in a way where all of our agents only get 100 leads at a time, and we monitor how they follow up with them. Jay asked a question about KPIs, and that's Vern Harnish, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. We do. Yeah, so we track everything that goes on from lead to closing on both sides, on the buyer and seller side. So we do track those. I do have an ISA in place. I actually have 2 ISAs in place. My seller ISA, 95% of her job is responding to inbound inquiries for people to sell their home. My buyer ISA is doing outbound prospecting 90% of the time, and then calling people that registered on our website or answering the phone when our yard sign calls. Someone asked about fuel as a CRM, Hosprat's fuel system. I typically don't like new technology. So I've demoed the system. I know every new technology has some glitches that they work through. I keep things simple. I work on a couple platforms, and I'm not looking for the next best thing. And so I don't have a direct comment because I'm not a fuel user. But I've seen it, and it looks okay. I just tend to avoid new technologies. Yep, Bill asked about a replay. There will be a replay. If you registered, there will be a replay. Examples for articulating value versus a discount broker. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Part of it's scripting on listing appointments, and part of that is what I help my clients with is we've got a 7-step system for nailing listings and getting listings at a high rate. And it's a lot to go into, but it's handling everything from the first conversation to what you send before the appointment, to how you show up at the appointment, to the walkthrough and building rapport, to sitting down and going through market data and establishing your expertise, to going to your marketing presentation, to the way you ask for the business and the way you go through pricing and the order of all of that. So Jay asked a question about the USP. I'll sell your home in X days or I will buy it. It gets the phone to ring. Some agents lead with it heavy and they want everyone in their guaranteed sale. Some we don't tend to lead with it. Most people don't qualify because they're not trading up into one of our listings. So that USP is a trade program. One person asked 3 signs that we use in our yard. So one is the main yard sign. One is an everyday open house. So it's calling for a showing appointment. And one is a 24/7 info hotline. Yep. Long-term drip campaigns. Yeah, we use both. We have for sellers and buyers that aren't ready to buy. We do use long-term email drips. All right, what else? That's the last question. I'll hang around here for just a few minutes. Let me see if there's some old questions that I didn't get to. Someone said happy holidays, which is cool. Let me see. Susan asks, is there a business model philosophy you align with? Keller Williams mega agent model, no on that. Or Brian Buffini, definitely no on Brian Buffini. I mean, what Brian Buffini does specifically is a part of what we do. Getting business from people that know, like, and trust you. The mega agent model, that's not exactly what I do. I built out the corporate model where everyone is served by Lars, quote unquote, and we maintain the client relationship. And we structure it in a way where I know what a good agent should get paid, and I don't focus on splits like most teams. So even the Keller Williams model, the splits are messed up. We gross 66% of what we take in, so we pay out 34%, and that might be close to MREA. But no, there's no real model that I developed my own model. I did some work with Corcoran. And they sort of helped me with some of the steps, but there's not a specific business model or philosophy that I follow. It's more developing my own. All right. So someone made a comment here, and it was Mickey Moore. I'm not being negative. I would really like to understand everything you're talking about costs a lot of money. How do we succeed when we're starting out? Also, I work at a 100% commission company, and they are popping up everywhere. How do I get a team to work with you when? Yeah, so the whole 100% thing. I mean, there's a training video I recorded. It's 27 minutes long, and it's like the first thing that I get agents, clients of mine, to watch because it's wrapping your head around on why the whole, even talking about splits is a complete joke. So if you sell, average agent in my market sells 4 or 5 homes per year. When I just chop off the part-timers, it goes up to about 8 to 10. So if I give that the benefit of the doubt, it's 10 sales per agent that makes money doing real estate. It's their primary occupation. In my market, that's a $6,000 commission check. It's 60,000 top line. Probably average out 20 to 25,000 of expenses to generate that amount of income. So an average agent in my market is earning 40,000 at best. If I double that and look for maybe the top 15, 20% of agents in my market are maybe netting 80,000. And so I know those numbers and I have confidence in those numbers. It doesn't matter if I give you 10% commission split. If I can show you a path to make 6 figures, are you willing to sit down and have a conversation with me about your business? That's the direct thing I would say to an agent. But I'm with a 100% split company. But what does your business look like this year? How many homes did you sell? Let's go through the numbers. Like, I don't know my numbers, but okay, so you sold 7 homes. Let's go through it. So 7 homes, average commission check 6,000. What are your expenses? I don't know my expenses. Let's just talk about it. And you're going to go through that math with them. And you're going to show them that, okay, this year you're going to net about $35,000. If I could show you a way to eliminate all the risk, all the expense, and double your take home, your net income, are you willing to talk further about that? So commissions are a joke. Our biggest company in our market is a 100% commission company, and they average 1 transaction per agent. They've got about 800 agents, and they sold 800 homes last year. Now, how effed up is that? Like, what value are they bringing to the market? They're housing all the agents that just suck. They either suck or they don't do it full time, and they shouldn't be licensed, in my opinion. And so the whole 100% thing is a joke. I'll do 400 come heck or high water next year with probably adding an agent or 2. So 10 or less agents, I'll do 400. And if you do the math, it would take me 20 agents to do 800, and it takes them 800 agents to do 800. So the 100% commission thing is just, it's totally irrelevant. All right, cool. So we got some more questions here. I've got a little bit more time here. All right. How do you get around them saying you're false? So Todd asked a question. How do you get around? So USP-based marketing, it's a legit program. So both versions of it are legit, and it's a trade. So it's like when you bring your car to your dealer. They'll give you a price, not the price you want, but they'll give you a price to buy your existing car if you buy a car from them. So if you come to me, you're a buyer, you got to be unrepresented. You come to me, you're going to buy my listing at $500,000 and you have a $200,000 home to sell. I will buy that $200,000 home if I can't sell it on my own. The truth is that I've got both ends of the $500,000, and there's a 7% commission on the $200,000. So there's $14,000 plus 95% of market value. There's a full 7% on the $500,000 or $35,000. There's so much commission income in all of that. If I had to buy that $200,000 house, I could, because I've got the income there to apply toward it, or I would just reduce the price of it so it would sell before I had to buy it. So that's generally how you're able to do that. But you just go through it with them. And most people, they call up and they're not going to qualify for the program. They don't really want to do that program anyway. And you're going to do a great job of selling their home. Everyday open house. Susan asked a question. It serves 2 purposes. It is a yard sign. Instead of holding a traditional open house, it gives a 24/7 open house. So people call and set up a showing appointment on your listing. And that's all it is. And we track that line and we get very, very good leads from it. Basically, our yard marketing program, it removes, it makes it non-threatening to call the other 2 phone numbers versus the main yard sign. The psychology of buyers is that they don't want to talk to an agent, so they're not going to call the main yard sign as much as they will those two signs that are flanking it. Yeah, you can offer any USP. There's a bunch of USPs that will go through if we work together. But you can offer any USP. It doesn't matter if you have a large listing, large inventory of listings. Dennis asks, do you go with an audio hotline or do you go with the text for info? I don't like texting. We have special scripts on our 27 info hotline that 95% of the time, the buyers that are calling press 1 and get transferred to a live agent. So it's all about scripting. So John asked a question about doing 1,200 postcards, a cold mailer to homes that have been owned for more than 3 years, which features a get your value. I haven't had. I've done a lot of that. I did that to people that have owned their homes for more than 4 years. And I sent out 7,500 postcards for 6 months straight that offered a get your home value, and I didn't get one listing from it. So 7,500, 6 months to the same 7,500 homes, and I didn't get a single listing from it. I'm not saying that you can't get a traction on that, but I sent out $45,000 postcards, and I didn't get a single listing on it. Do you know when the replay will be available? It will be available. I don't know. It takes me a little bit of time to upload this, and then probably within a day or two, and it'll be all over. You guys will get an email about it. What do you recommend to agents that really want to get involved but have a fair amount of debt? So Brad, I don't know if you're talking about agents recruiting to your team or that want to be part of my coaching program. So maybe you can clarify that. Cool. Mickey, I look forward to talking to you. Mickey scheduled an intro call. A couple of you have mentioned that as well, which is really cool. And we'll have a good time on the call. It's low pressure. We're going to talk about your business and you and what you want to achieve. And if I can help you, great. If I can't, that's totally cool too. So Susan is saying, and this is awesome because this is like every mindset of agents. So are you saying as an agent, I'd be making 34% on every transaction if I worked for you? I'm not exactly saying that. I'm saying blended on our listing and buyer side. Our buyer agents make more than that, and our listing agents make less than that. All of my agents take home more than $100,000. So it's when you're talking about percentages, you're just caught in the old world thinking of splits actually matter, and they don't. So my program is focused on helping you build a real estate team where everyone is super productive. Yep. All right, and that's pretty much about it. I've got to run. Yeah, so Brad asked a question about, if you're a new agent, you don't have a lot of money to get involved in the coaching program. If I had the benefit of this program when I got into real estate, I know that it would have saved me a bunch of time and money. And I understand the cash flow crunch. That's just something you either need to figure out or focus and scale your business to the point where you can afford someone that can show you the path to get there. So LarsStrategySession.com. Take action. Don't hesitate. Only if you're serious about your business and personal development and you're serious about building this thing. And LarsHedenborg.com is also another source of information to look at the types of things that I offer. So we will talk to you guys soon. Much love to all of you.